Hello, I'm Carla Carbonell from La Caixa Foundation, submission number 0159, and I'll be presenting AI-assisted pre-screening of biomedical research projects. It's my pleasure to be here today with you. To start, I will do highlights from the Caixa Research Health Call, then a context and motivation for this project. Section 3 and 4 are the main projects that I want to share with you. And then finally, main takeaways and ongoing work and open questions. So to start, the Caixa Research Health Call is an annual call, so it's launched every year. We started 2018. So we are right now finishing the evaluation of the 7th edition. It's a biomedical project research call, based in scientific excellence and high impact, and we can get basic clinical and translational projects. Individual projects up to 500,000 and consortiums up to 1 million. 5 different thematic areas, and up to now we have got more than 3,700 proposals submitted, 171 proposals selected, and up to 120 million. Our call is based in Spain and Portugal. So how does the evaluation phase works in this call? First, we go through a remote evaluation where we assign 3 reviewers to each proposal. A 4th one if there's a discrepancy. The best proposals for each thematic area, 18 in this case, go to the face-to-face evaluation. And finally, around 30 proposals, depending on the budget, are finally selected. So from one side, we get a huge number of applications, and we have detected that around 30% of those applications, finally, they get a really low score on the remote evaluation. So that opens 2 possible challenges. How to match reviewers with proposals, considering the huge dimensionality problem, and if we could find an initial screening to improve the workload that the evaluators get. Finally, what we imagined is that AI could be a solution to those 2 challenges. Starting with the first project, how to match reviewers with evaluation. First and main important thing is to have a really good characterizations from both projects and reviewers. Characterization of projects is self-selection. So the project leader decides the best main keywords and the best secondary keywords for the project, and also if it's more basic clinical translation. For the characterization of reviewers, we do the process that's called scrapping. It's an automated process that scraps the PubMed website to download keywords. How does that work? So from the initial pool of reviewers that we have, first we decide or we choose those reviewers that have at least 10 years of postdoctoral experience and that are not based in Spain and Portugal to try to avoid conflict of interest. For these reviewers, we scrap the PubMed website, download all their publications for the last 10 years that they appear as first and last author, and from these articles, we extract the keywords. Just for you to imagine the numbers, for around 1,000 reviewers, we get more than 50,000 research articles and around more than 60,000 mesh terms. Finally, with the availability, we have our final pool of reviewers. With this final pool of reviewers and the projects, we do the matching through an AI algorithm process, considering different weights for all the different variables. How does this work? For example, considering the main keywords of a real example, this project has selected these 3 main keywords. We find some reviewers that from their articles, as you can see in the image, have the same keywords and are considered exact match with the project keywords. For example, the first reviewer in the screen, we have a reviewer that has the exact 3 same keywords. But the second reviewer, as you can see, a score, it's under 1, it's 0.44. That is because he did not have the exact same keyword, so it went to the upper level of the 3 in the NIH PubMed website. Just for you to imagine, In 2024, we got 535 proposals. That meant around 4,000 mesh terms. In the reviewers, we had almost 16,000 articles. That meant that almost 250,000 mesh terms, and that meant around 1,600 evaluations. So it is impossible to do that by hand. Okay, to start with the second project, before we had to consider some ethical aspects. So how we should do this project to make it socially acceptable, fair, and reliable. For that, we based in the ethics guidelines for trustworthy from the European Commission. So just some ideas, because I'm gonna be explaining this through the project with specific examples, but to make it social acceptable, main thing from our side is to make the process as transparent as possible. On the other side, always analysis the possible bias of your data to remove it if it's necessary. All final decisions should be made by humans, so always human in the loop in all processes, and really, really, really solid results to just keep going. So how was our journey through all this project of artificial intelligence in the eligibility phase? We started with a proof of concept that took 2 years, where we really did a deep analysis on the data, tested, and decided the model. Finally, in 2022, we did a pilot that went completely parallel to the normal or real evaluation. And finally, having a really, really solid results, we went live on 2023 edition. So in the proof of concept, about the analysis of the data, really important, a deep analysis, and we could conclude that our data did not contain any obvious bias. And this is really, really important. Again, really important to have a homogeneity data and the quality of the data. For example, and enough data. For example, we were studying the research option, but also the data of our innovation program. At that point, we could not consider the data of the innovation program good enough to keep going. So we finally decided to, for the moment, leave that aside. And again, all data used in all this process, it's research data from the proposal. Non-personal data is used at any point. With that, we selected our models, 3 models based on natural language. We train the models, validate the models, and then finally test on live. So for that, we split the data. The main part of the data, 70% was to train the models. Then the 30% of the data of the first 4 editions to validate the model, and finally tested over the edition 2022 that was running at that moment. Results from the algorithms. So again, remember, we are using 3 algorithms, so we can get 3 scenarios for the rejection. Unanimity, that means that the 3 algorithms decided that that proposal should be flagged. Majority, 2 of the 3 algorithms flagged that proposal, or at least 1, meaning that 1 algorithm flagged that proposal. With this result, and as it was pilot testing parallel to the evaluation, we checked all the 3 scenarios, and those results were sent to expert confirmation. That means that were sent to reviewers that had to confirm or not the result of the algorithm. Those reviewers, it's important to know that they have been panel reviewers, so they know the kind of proposals that we finally select. They were informed that this was a pilot study, and they were even informed that we had added proposals with a high probability of being selected, so we could just also check if they were aware of everything that was going on. So how does the pilot study work? From the real evaluation, you have the legible proposals that go through directly to the remote evaluation. Some of them, in this case, 80 are pre-selected and go to the face-to-face interviews, and finally 33 of them were selected. When you are doing the AI-assisted model, the eligible proposals go through the 3 AI algorithms. Some of them, and here I'm showing you the unanimity scenario, 116 were flagged by the algorithms, by the 3 algorithms. Those were sent, all of them, to 2 experts. Finally, 30 were rescued and 86 were rejected. So finally, 460 proposals would have been eligible to go through the normal evaluation process. At the end, only 1 proposal from the 86 pre-rejected reached the panel phase. We have at this point initial version of explainability of the models. So it is really important to be able to understand what's going on and at some point give feedback to our applicants. We have a lot of room of improvement on this subject, and we are working on it right now. But we have at least an initial idea of what should be done. So what I'm showing you here is a type of chart that we can draw, where we are considering in a spider chart all the different sections of the proposals that are considered in the AI process. So what we can do is that if we extract one of these sections, we can analyze how the probability of not being selected changes. So we can extract some information from this. Again, there's a lot of room of improvement in this, and we are at the moment starting to working on it more deeply. So finally, after the pilot, we did a workshop with experts. It was really important for us also to get their feelings of how the process went and how they felt on that process. We had 2 long meetings with them where we could chat about a lot of things, but I would say that the most important concerns were related with the possible bias that the algorithms could be amplifying through the training, or how they could the criteria they had to consider to be able to detect the mistakes the algorithm could do. For us, it was really important to share with them then, and that is something that now that we are live, we do really in a deep way with them, is that it is really important, or their main task for us is for them to detect the possible false positives. That means that as the algorithms are trained with real data from our call, if we get a proposal that's a little bit different, out of the box, or more innovative, that could be a false positive for the algorithm. So the main task that the reviewer should do is detect any, I would say, really good proposal that is being flagged for the wrong reasons, and that is really important. Remember that at the end, the goal that we have is decrease the workload that the remote reviewers get, considering that the 30% of the proposals end having a really low score. So we are happy to save proposals if the content eligibility reviewers think that's needed. So finally, 2023, with really solid results, we went live. How did the system or the process go? We got 493 proposals. 98 of them were labeled by the 3 algorithms, so we are in the unanimity scenario. Finally, those 98 proposals were sent to 2 experts. Each proposal was sent to 2 experts. 35 were rescued, and 63 were finally confirmed and rejected. If one of the 2 reviewers had any kind of doubt about the proposal, that proposal was rescued. Okay? So finally, those 35 were added to the eligible proposals, and 430 went through the normal basis evaluation process, remote evaluation, and finally interviews. Non-AI labeled proposal has finally been selected. Not even the ones that were flagged by only 1 algorithm. So at this point, we think that the results are really solid and really reliable. So main takeaways and conditions for success for this type of projects. Data. It is really important, the quality of the data, and avoid possible biases and avoid using personal data. Really important. For the implementation, choose, decide, evaluate, and select the best models for this process, do a pilot phase, and really have a good documentation of all the process. Human intervention in every phases of the process, really important. Final decision should be under human intervention, and explainability of the models that, as I told you before, we are working on at this moment. Transparent communications. We have this published in the rules of participations, in the evaluation guidelines, make explicit which stages of the process are automated, and provide the guidelines necessary for that. And really important, we have gone step by step to ensure acceptance, only moving forward if we had really solid results. Remember, we decided not to move forward with the data of the innovation program because results were not solid enough. Ongoing work or future work, and some open questions. So as I was telling you before, we have right now a new project just starting to improve the explainability of the AI models on content eligibility. We are evaluating the possibility of somehow giving feedback, the reviewers feedback of to the applicants. So why the reviewers have confirmed or not the rejection of the proposal based on the algorithm flags, and also the possibility of creating a tool so the applicants could check through the same algorithms their probability of being selected or not, and then decide if they want to apply or not. So those two ideas are on evaluation right now. That means that with these two ideas, and considering that for us this process is is happening during the eligibility phase, we think that redress would not be needed for the applicants. But I would like to know your opinion related to that. Okay, now just to finish, a few open questions that we have on the table. Final decision, it's always under human validation, okay? But with solid results, could we lower that human intervention? So remember, at this point, we are sending all the proposals flagged by the algorithm to human validation, but we are sending it to 2 reviewers. I'm not telling to don't send some proposal. I'm just considering the option of sending it to only 1 reviewer. So still 100% of the proposals would go to human intervention, but only to 1 reviewer. With solid results, could that be an option? Could we consider the scenario of majority instead of the scenario of unanimity? So right now, we are only considering those proposals as flagged if the 3 algorithms flag the proposals. Could we consider if 2 of them flag the proposal? Again, these algorithms have been trained to detect proposals with low probability of being selected. But they are good or good enough to selecting or detecting the best proposals. What conditions would need to be met for this solution to be applied? Are we ready to have algorithms that could detect the best proposals within the proposal submitted? Could this be possible? What should we do for this to be applied? And this is the questions that I would like you to consider and think and have the option to discuss all together. And thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you enjoy the process that we just presented.